Hello, hello, welcome. What is your favorite character in Friends? And I'm talking about the comedy show, the comfort zone, the American sitcom Friends. You know, with Monica, Chandler, Phoebe, Joey, Rachel. Which is your favorite character? We are here and we're going to analyze relationships as seen from this group of friends, six friends. Hi, my name is Vasi Sarantopoulou. I'm a psychologist and relationship therapist. And it was so interesting for me. It was this crazy idea that I have in my head that I need to see relationships through this series because it says so much. We have been watching that for decades. I don't remember how many times I've seen all episodes and all seasons. Numerous. I have stopped measuring or keeping track of it. So we have learned so many things about relationships, which will be so useful to just put it down and see what was the messages that were learned from these six people. So let me know who's your favorite character first and foremost. Put it in the comments so that I can see which is the one that has impacted you most or you feel you resonate more. Let me start with Monica. Monica, you can see how she was a person. The outside that you can see from Monica is that she's a controlling person. She wants everybody to come at her place. She wants to be the best cook. She wants to be the best host. She wants to be the best, right? She's a perfectionist. I mean, let's admit that, right? Uh, but then when we look behind that facade, behind that face, the personality that she's showing to other people, we can actually make a better sense of why she became the person that she is. And looking back at her childhood, she grew up with a very critical mother, a very rejecting mother. She visibly and directly would show to her that she is not welcome, that she is not her favorite child. And she would show very clearly that Ross is the child that she is feeling happy about and proud about. So you can understand that her need for approval was so unmet during her childhood. She felt that she was not accepted as she was. And it makes sense why she was trying during her adulthood to gain approval. That was also the reason why she was also trying to build her own company and to set her skills out there and have people admire her for what she was doing. She wanted the praise from other people because he hasn't got it. So let's go to relationships now. It was also the reason that she chose the partners that she chose, and I mean before Chandler. Um, Not having got the approval, she was looking for partners that would give her or give their parents the approval that she sought for. She was with Richard, and then she was with this guy. I don't remember his name, the boxer, and she was looking for people with authority because authority, we think, makes us more approved, more accepted by society. So she was looking for that approval in many different ways, including her relationships. And her trauma was leading her towards that way. Her rejection from her mother was leading her towards that way. Until, of course, she healed from her trauma, and then that changed her path. Um, she wanted desperately to feel loved from Richard, and you can see that from the way that she didn't even speak about her needs to him from the beginning of the relationship. She wanted family, she wanted kids, but then she was pushing that need aside so that she can be with him. And then, of course, that was the reason why they broke up eventually, because she finally couldn't hide it, that she wanted something different. Her need to accommodate everybody didn't serve this relationship, and eventually she could see that this was not going anywhere further rather than this point that they have met, they have reached. So that was about Monica and her relationship. And then this changed, of course, when she started having the relationship with Chandler, because this was a different relationship. She didn't need approval. She met another kind of acceptance for who she is. She met another kind of safety that she has never experienced before. And she tried for this level of safety together with Chandler. Going now to her friend, Rachel. She grew up in a bubble with her rich father providing everything for her, and then she comes into this group feeling completely entitled. She's oblivious of other people's needs. She doesn't know what they need. She just goes in there and then she just demands, not in a nasty way, but in a very oblivious way. She doesn't know that she's being a burden to other people. And especially Monica is accommodating and doing the extra mile for her. But you also see how she is repeating the pattern of this one-way relationship that she learned from her father. She's repeating that pattern with Ross. Her father was just instructing what he wanted. He didn't allow dialogue or communication. And she was doing the same thing with Ross. She was just presenting 20 pages letters to him, and she said, okay, read that and sign that you agree. She was not having meaningful conversations with him. He only wanted him to agree with what she said. When they were having this famous breakup, where they wouldn't agree whether it was a breakup or not a breakup, she and of course Ross, they were stuck into the definition of a break instead of going a little bit deeper and discussing about what it is that they value in this relationship or how they're going to repair and heal. Nothing like this. So you also see, and remember one of the previous times that we have talked about attachment style. She is also a person with anxious avoidance, the ambivalent attachment style. And how you can see that every time Ross is not available because he's in another relationship, she starts having feelings for him. She travels to London in the day of his marriage, of his wedding, to tell him that she's in love with him. She wants him, or she understands that she has feelings about him only when he's not available. When he's available, she actually decides that no, it's not going to work. We're just friends and it's better that we don't go there. So the push and pull which is happening, it's totally the anxious avoidant. Even when in the beginning she told him that she's in love with him, she realized that she's in love with him when he was in a relationship with this Chinese girl. I think her name was Kim. So you see that I want you when you're not available. I don't want you when you're available. That's exactly Rachel's style. But also another guy's style, Chandler's. He's also the anxious avoidant. He's very dependent in the beginning with Janice, but he is in the relationship, but he's not at the same time. He doesn't like her. He's irritated with her. He needs her, but he doesn't want her. And you can see how he feels very icky, very strange when he's in long-term relationships. He feels uncomfortable with commitment, and you can see it when he's with Janice. You can see it when he finally gets to being his wedding day with Monica, when he decides to flee and to disappear. He struggles with long-term commitment, and it makes sense. He has said so many times how painful his parents' divorce was. He has said so many times during Thanksgiving gatherings how awful these family dinners were during his childhood, where his parents were fighting all the time. In his head, long-term relationships means fight, ugly divorces, um, ugly conflicts between people. That's why he doesn't want it. It makes perfect sense that he has commitment issues. So even though he is in a relationship with Janice in the beginning that is not fulfilling, he just stays there, but only to play this on and off game. I mean, I'm out. I mean, and I'm out. Also, you can see how immature he is about relationships when he has his first fight with Monica And he says to her that, okay, now we had our first fight, I guess that we're gonna break up, right? And she's like, no, we don't break up just because we had a silly fight. Things like that will happen all the time. So that's the moment that he also feels safe in relationships, when he's with Monica and he starts learning about relationships and about repairing. He hasn't seen repairing in relationships before, and he's experiencing that now with Monica. And he grows very mature with her. Remember how he was with girlfriends and with Janice, and see how he is at the end of the relationship of the series with Monica, where they have gone together through infertility struggles. They have gone together through his unemployment period, through his career changes. All these things they went through together by staying together and discussing together and supporting each other. We see nowadays people that they say, when my partner is struggling, like, I don't want that because this is an extra burden on me. I'm out of this. I'm not gonna suffer because my partner is struggling. And you see how easily we give up on relationships, and how Chandler and Monica, they went through something so difficult, so hard, but they went through that together. Of course, that's the only prerequisite in order to continue a relationship. We have to struggle, but then struggle together, not alone. And then let me go to the other two characters, Phoebe and Joy. Phoebe, I think this is the only character that she knew about boundaries. She knew what she wanted. And you can be like, how is it possible that she, having gone through so much abandonment and rejection and loneliness and living on the streets, how is it possible that she knows so much about relationship? Yes, she knew. I think she went through a lot of self, exploration, and she found herself in her loneliness. And she came up being an adult who knows what she wants. She allowed herself to be imperfect. She allowed herself to be vulnerable, even. She was the only one that she was setting boundaries in her relationships with her boyfriends. She would say to Mike from the beginning already that, I want to see a future. Eventually, I want to leave. I want to have a home. I want to have a relationship that I can call home. I've never had that in my life, and I'm not going to compromise in that. And when Mike said that, yeah, I'm sorry, I cannot provide you with that, then they decided to end the relationship. She was not depending on being with someone. She wanted to be with somebody who also feels the same thing with her. She was also the one that set boundaries in the relationship, in the friendships as well. She was the one, telling people that they should stand up to their responsibility. So even though she was silly with her, like funny clothes and with her songs, she was the one, I think that she was the most mature of all. And the decisions she made, she was always standing up for her decisions, and she knew why she was making decisions. Like, for example, being hosting, the children of his brother, being a surrogate mother. Yes. Joy, another happy guy. He was happy to be single. He was one of the people that you see sometimes and you don't believe. We all feel that we have to be in relationships, but for him, it was not the case. He was happy to be single. He was happy with what he was experiencing in life, happy with his friends. He didn't want anything else. And that's also something, a very helpful reminder for us, that when we are in between relationships, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us. It doesn't mean that we need to escape that place. It doesn't mean that we need to be feeling shame about that. And thinking a little bit also about the childhood of Joy. He was Italian, and his family moved to New York, and he had the responsibility of his sisters. We can see some stories of him and protecting his sisters, of taking care of his sisters. So what I can make sense of is that When he was a child, he took an adult role to be the protector, to be the one that should be mature. And you can see how immature, more immature his sisters are. And it makes sense why in adulthood he decides to be away from his family, but also to be the child again, to live, to experience the childhood, the playfulness, the innocence, the naivety that he didn't experience when he was a child. And that's why he doesn't want any responsibility. For him, relationships feel like responsibilities. And he's sick and tired of that from his life. So he chose to be by himself. And last but not least, Ross. I feel that Ross was obsessed to be in a relationship. He had to be in a relationship. He couldn't be without a relationship, or he felt that there was something wrong if he was not in a relationship. And that's why he gave in too much space to be in relationships. He gave too much of his energy. And you can see how he behaved with Emily, even though Emily was a character, was a relationship that was full of red flags. And you could see signs of her suppressing him. She was only giving ultimatums. She didn't care about him being happy. She told him that you have to move to London, you have to cut off with your friends or with Rachel. She was just imposing things on him, and it was again a one-way relationship. And he was so ready to give in to all of this. And because of his need to be in relationships. So, as we said before, he was raised as the golden child. And that explains why he didn't learn to be assertive. He didn't learn to, um, to set boundaries. He didn't learn how to repair relationships. Everything was given to him. He didn't learn how to reconciliate. He didn't know how to reconciliate. He was just playing the power games that Rachel or Emily or whoever was setting up for him. So he didn't learn all these useful skills. He even didn't know how to choose a partner. When Rachel told him that for the first time that she was in love with him, he was so confused, and she thought that maybe a pros and cons list will give the answer to that. So he put down on a paper what are the pros and cons of Rachel's personality in order to decide whether to be with her or not. So you can see that he didn't know how to select partners. He didn't know what he wanted from relationships, what was important for him to be in a relationship. And again, the famous fight about whether we were on a break or not. He didn't know how to reconciliate. He missed the opportunity of healing with her, together with her, and repairing the relationship because he was just answering to her silly questions or to continuing this dialogue about the definition of a breakup. And also you can see, and that feels so sad when you see that these two people, Ross and Rachel, they were in and out. They were going close to each other and then far apart from each other so many times during these 10 years. And then eventually, after 10 years, they decide to be together. And you're feeling like, oh, that's such a waste of time, guys. You knew that you wanted to be together, but you didn't try. You didn't set aside your egos or your pride. You didn't go to a couples therapist, or you didn't admit vulnerability or your feelings to each other. And you just wasted all these 10 years or 20, I don't remember how many years, being apart. And that's so sad. That's such a pity. Sometimes we lose these opportunities to be with other people just because we don't know. And of course, we don't know because we don't learn. But then we miss wonderful, beautiful relationships just because of that. So I hope I gave you an overview of how I see relationships through these 6 characters. And I would love to hear your perspective, what you saw, what you took from this comedy, from this comfort show about relationships. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for following, for watching this video. Follow more on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram of more of my videos about relationships, about mental health. And I'm looking forward to seeing you and to helping you with your struggles and with your questions. And you can find even more on antiloneliness.com. Thank you very much. Take good care of yourself. Have a nice evening.